Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the Key on Millions.co. Here is my media feed for all my different segments, clips, and sound bites from the previous games and events that we all had to watch on Saturday and Sunday. Now let's get into the first game of the playoffs. It was the Los Angeles Rams versus the Carolina Panthers. And yes, the Carolina Panthers was a 10.5 point favorite before the game started, but there was a lot of miscues when the Rams were playing the Patriots. Excuse me, the Rams were playing the Panthers, and it seems like to me that the Panthers, they had their chances at upsetting the Rams, but they missed out on them. They did. You had Matthew Stafford, 24 of 42, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, one interception. Bryce Young, 21 of 40, 264 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The rushing attacks for both teams were pretty much the same, 116 to 183. Then you had Puka Nacua, who had a phenomenal game. He had 10 catches, over 100 yards, and a touchdown. And it seems like to me that the Rams, they do show some weaknesses on the road. Now, when they are at home, we already seen how dominant that they are at home. But you have the Rams on the road, most likely they are going to lose. Now, the Rams, they are going to Chicago. Now, we already saw Chicago, and I'm going to get into Chicago a little bit later on in the show, but we already saw how Chicago, you have to put Chicago to bed in the fourth quarter. If you don't put Chicago in the bed in the fourth quarter, they will take the game over and win it, and that's exactly what Chicago did on Saturday night. But I'm gonna get into that a little bit later on in the show. Right now, I want to get into these Rams. The Rams defense, I'm gonna show y'all something. The Rams defense, as far as third down efficiency, the Panthers were 5 of 12. That's almost 50%. So the Rams defense, they had a tough time stopping the Panthers offense. But on offense, for the Rams, only 3 of 13 on third down. Now that is bad. I always say a team that goes 1 for 12, 2 of 14, or 3 of 13 on third down, they need to lose the game. And the Rams were almost on the cusp of losing this game if it wasn't for a late touchdown in the last few seconds of the game where Matthew Stafford hit his tight end, Tyler Higbee, for a touchdown. If it wasn't for that, the Rams would be at home right now. But one thing I can say about the Panthers, they did show that they do have grit, even in a losing effort. Now, I already been saying that the worst division in the NFL is the NFC South. Anybody in that division has a chance to come out of it next season and get to the playoffs. The Panthers, they pretty much backed their way into the playoffs, losing 4 of the last 5, and they needed help from the Atlanta Falcons to get into the playoffs by beating the New Orleans Saints. That is not a way that I want to back my way into the playoffs. And valiant effort by the Panthers when it comes to penalties and time of possession. Rams and Panthers were pretty much neck and neck. I got some clips to show y'all from this game. This is basically what I wanted to talk about, the last drive for the Rams. And as you can see, last drive for the Rams, Matthew Stafford goes to Devontae Adams. He goes to Puka Nacua right here for 17 yards. And By this time in the game, I was saying, okay, the Rams got this. And we also heard where before this drive, Matthew Stafford he told his teammates, he was like, hey, let's go down here and snatch their heart out and win this game. And this is where they won the game by the tight end. There was a touchdown right there. Parkinson, he got a touchdown. He stayed in bounds, had maintained control of the ball. There's no ball movement. That was a clear and decisive touchdown catch. But once I look back at the end of this game and what the Panthers could have did. Now the Panthers, what they could have did after this is, see, I just want y'all to look at this. Y'all see that it's 17 seconds left. When the Panthers got the ball back, with 40 seconds left. Now, what I was thinking was the Panthers, they would get somewhere to about maybe the plus 45, the plus 40, or maybe even the 35-yard line on the plus side of the field for a field goal. But the first two plays, both of them drops. The third play right here is a drop. Well, a drop. Fourth play, season on the line, another drop. So for the Panthers, their season ended on 4 consecutive drops. This was a rebuilding year for the Panthers. Now, do we see the Panthers making it to the playoffs again next season? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. That is if the Panthers keep the same bunch, because Panthers draft, they're thinking about getting another quarterback, but you also have Bryce Young still there. Now, I hear that Bryce Young, he has a 5th-year option, and I do believe that the Panthers are deciding whether to pick that up or not. But all in all, this was a very entertaining game. It was good to see the Panthers back in the playoffs for the first time since 2015, 2016 season. So the next game I am going to cover is the Bears and the Packers and the Bears. Now, one thing we got to realize is that, can Matt LaFleur hold a lead when he is a coach? Because this has been more times than not where he's blown leads of 14 plus points in a game. Now, this game right here, the Packers, it looked like a foregone conclusion from 3 quarters, because the Packers were up 21-3 late in the third quarter with about, I would say, 6 minutes and 36 seconds left. That's exactly where I started to look, and I already saw where I'm like, okay, the Bears are down by 18, but I'm like, if they get a couple of scores and a couple of field goals, they're right back in this game. But one thing that I want to say, and first I'm going to get into the statistics. Jordan Love, 24 of 46, 322 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jordan Love is the second quarterback in NFL history to throw for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns and lose. The first quarterback on that list is Josh Allen, and that was last season versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So Jordan Love, he is not on the list that he wants to be on. Caleb Iceman Williams, emphasis on the Iceman, America. Emphasis on the Iceman, was 24 of 48, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Those 2 interceptions, he's got to protect the ball more. As you get further and further into the playoffs, the possessions become more and more bigger and dire. It is a must do without fail when you have the ball in your possession, you have to score a touchdown. You cannot come away with field goals all the time. You can't. And as we can see, third down efficiency for the Packers. They were 6 of 15 on third down. They wasn't good on third down in this game. The Bears, 10 of 19 on third down. That was basically almost 50%. But there was one play that determined the outcome of this game, and I'm going to show y'all some clips of it. The 4th and 8. This is 4th and 8. Packers 27, Bears 16. This is basically the game right here, the season for the Bears right here. So 4th and 8, and I'm sitting back watching this game, watching it in its entirety, and I'm saying to myself, I picked the Bears to win this game, and I'm saying, is the Bears season really going to come to a close after this play? So I'm looking, and I'm about to show y'all this clip. I'm looking at this play where Caleb Williams goes back to pass, almost gets sacked. He gets out of it, and then Roma Doomsday out of nowhere, he wasn't even in the screen. He comes and makes the most critical catch of the season for the Bears to this point. Caleb Williams back to pass, throws it to his running back. He gets all the way down to the 8. And here I'm saying to myself, if the Bears get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, they're only down by 3 points, which they do get the touchdown right here with over 4 minutes left. Now they are in the 2-point conversion formation right here. Williams to Colston Loveland for the 2-point conversion. Now the Bears are down by 3. And I'm looking at this game. First, I'm looking at this game and I'm saying the Bears, they only need one stop and they can go down and win the game. They can go down and win the game. But here's 2nd and 8. Jordan Love goes back to pass, throws it to Romeo Doubs. And when I saw this play, I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, Bears cannot give up anything but a field goal. That is exactly what I was thinking right here. You get back to 2nd and 10. Jordan Love goes to Matthew Golden. They get down to the 20, and I'm saying to myself, I'm like, the Bears, they got to hold it. We get to 3rd and 15. So 3rd and 15, this is where it just seems like everything, they just brought everybody. The defense for the Bears, they brought everybody, and as you can see, it came down to a field goal. Now, I was expecting for the Bears to make, well, I was expecting for the Packers to make this, but obviously the Packers did not make it. And we get to a point in this game where the Bears can go down and win the game, and that is exactly what Caleb Williams done. Now, this is a signature win for Caleb Williams and the Bears, because all the stuff that the Bears went through a season ago, it is right here for this moment. Ben Johnson is the best offensive play caller for Caleb Williams. He is. He's the best offensive play caller for Caleb Williams. And as they get down to the 25, here it is. They scored the touchdown with over a minute and a half left. I was saying to myself, the Bears, they are about to win this game. And that's exactly what they did. But now we are going to look at the final minute and a half. You can see where we get, and I'm gonna just fast forward to this 4th and 7 right here. 4th and 7. I'm saying to myself, when it comes to the Bears, just get a stop. I don't care how you do it, just get a stop. And obviously they didn't get the 4th down stop right there. But a little bit later on in this drive, they had a chance to get the 4th down stop, and they potentially ended up getting it. Now, this is Romeo Doubs for a 1st down. We are under a minute left, 43 seconds left. Jordan Love back to pass. He gets there, and he gets down to the 22. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, somebody, just make a play. Defense, somebody make a play. That is exactly what I'm saying on 3rd and 15. Now, somebody should have sacked Jordan Love right here. He had all the time in the world. And I'm saying to myself, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. That's what exactly, this is what I was doing up to the minute as I was looking at the game. Up to the minute. I was saying I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. And now one thing I can say is that the Bears, they face the Rams this weekend coming up on Saturday. Well, excuse me, Sunday. They face the Rams. The Rams and Bears face this week. Now, do I think the Rams can go into Chicago and win? That's a tall task because I'm going to tell y'all something. The Rams are going into a different climate. That weather is brutal in Chicago this time of the year. They don't call it the Windy City for nothing. I was looking at the weather report for the Rams and Bears game, and they're saying that the winds are supposed to be 18 to 20 miles per hour. And it's supposed to be snow in the weather. It's supposed to be snow during the game. So we all know that Chicago in January, it's always going to snow. But the wind chill, it's going to make your bones brittle. And that's exactly what the Rams have to face. And that's exactly what the Bears, that's exactly what the Bears' hostile environment is going to give the Rams. Now, the Rams, they are going to have a tough time trying to go in there, generate offensive yards, and generate points. But I am looking forward to the game. I am. I'm looking forward to that game. The next game I am going to cover is the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I know that there's a lot of things that have been happening over the past 36 to 48 hours. I'm going to get to the press lady for the Jaguars that congratulated Liam Cohen on a great season. And I hear there's so much backlash from what the lady said, and I really don't understand why. Well, I'm going to say yes, I understand why that there's so much backlash, but as the lady said on Channel 4 News yesterday, there is no rules when it comes to journalism. You report what you report. Now, this lady, she's been covering the Jaguars for over 25 years. So can y'all at least give her that respect? Please give her that respect. But first off, I'm going to get into this game, and then I'm going to get into Miss Lynn Jones and her comments. She is a very respectable lady around Jacksonville. I honestly, since I live right here in Jacksonville, I've heard so much about her. So I hope that I am able to get a meeting with her and also see what press release that she is always releasing, what topics in her press release that she is releasing. So before I get into Lynn Jones, I want to get to this game. The Buffalo Bills, they survived this game. They did. But the Jaguars, I'm going to just go ahead and, I'm going to just run down this list of clips and stuff. Josh Allen, 18 of 35, 273 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence, 18 of 30, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Rushing attack, 154 yards. Rushing attack for the Bills, 79 yards. You see the receiving core for both the Bills and the Jaguars. But there is one thing that I want to say here is third down efficiency in this game. The Bills were 7 of 14. The Jaguars were 5 of 9. Here's one thing that I want to say. Now, there are 3 to 4 plays in this game where the Jaguars, that is where the Jaguars lost this game at. I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to show y'all a clip. This fourth down play right here, this 4th and 2, I'm going to come to this. 4th and 2 right here. You are on the 9-yard line. It's 4th and 2. You're up by 4. You need to kick the field goal. Kick the field goal. You go up by 7. You go up by 7. It'll be 10-3. And as you can see, obviously Trevor Lawrence did not make the first down. The Buffalo Bills go back to get the ball. And that's basically where one of the things where it seems like the momentum started to change for the Jaguars, because after this, they still scored, but something switched in the game. I can say that. Something switched, because you can't be going for it on 4th down all willy-nilly in the playoffs. You see, the Bills took over right here exactly at that place, and we fast forward to 2nd and goal. This is the same drive. It was 6 minutes off the clock. They scored a touchdown, and it seemed like basically the Buffalo Bills, I believe this is where the Buffalo Bills, they always had control of the momentum after this game. Whether the Jaguars were up in this game, it always seemed like whether it was momentum or experience, the Buffalo Bills took this game over. Now let me get to the last 5 minutes of this game in the 4th quarter. As you can see, Trevor Lawrence goes back to pass. He gets Trevor Etienne for a first down. This is with under 8 minutes left. Now fast forward to 7 minutes left. Here is one to Parker Washington. They get down to the 25-yard line. Also, they get down to the 25-yard line. Here's the 25. Trevor, Parker Washington again. It looked like he was about to lose yardage, but he was able to get 6 yards off of that. Trevor Lawrence back to pass again, throws it to ETN, and he scores a touchdown. Now, I'm going to pause it right there. 4 minutes left. If you are the Jaguars, you got 4 minutes left. Now, that's a whole lot of time for Josh Allen, but you got the best run defense in the NFL. Best run defense in the NFL, and pass defense is also good. Now, when we get to this point right here, this is exactly what I want to talk about right here. This play right here, for 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. So much came together on this one play. You had pressure right there, but the defense didn't play zone. It went to man, and this was basically where I believe this is where the Jaguars lost the game. Because if you play zone right there, obviously, and I do mean obviously, you possibly get an interception, and it's pretty much game over. This 4th and inches, and when the Bills got this touchdown, I was saying to my promotion team, I was saying, if you are the Jaguars, if you want them to score a touchdown, you want them to score like that. That way, you will be able to go down and get a field goal. Now, obviously, the Bills scored a touchdown here. The Jaguars get the ball back. Now, you got a minute left. 1st and 10. You don't have to go deep. at all. You had the running game. See, the Jaguars, they could have had a running game, and you got the best kicker in the NFL. Now, even though he missed a field goal at halftime, but well before halftime, that doesn't mean that you try and get it all in one play. Now, what Trevor Lawrence did here, he should have took he should have took the check down, or they could have called a run play because it's 1st and 10. You have a minute left in the game. If I'm the quarterback, I'm not trying to put all my eggs in one basket on one play because I got 4 chances to get a first down. If I'm them, I would have ran the ball once or twice. Now, I always hear this. I've always heard this, that the Bills, they had a good run defense. This season, the Buffalo Bills haven't had a good run defense at all. They haven't. Now, the Bills, they are facing the Broncos this coming weekend. I believe that the Broncos defense is much better, if not slightly better, than the Jaguars defense. But for the Jaguars, it's just situational football. That 4th down and 2 in the first half, you kick the field goal, you go up 7, more than likely you win the game. On that, I'm going to say, on those interceptions that Trevor threw, that's possibly 3 to 7 points right there on both of those interceptions. You possibly win the game right there. Well, excuse me. You possibly win the game if the Jaguars go down and score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown there. So, Jaguars, I believe the Jaguars, when it comes to this team, now most of these guys are coming back. Most of these guys are coming back for next season. I like what the head coach, Liam Cohen, said as far as the Jaguars being back and as far as the future. And he built a culture and a blueprint for the Jaguars. Now let me get to the presser. The presser. Miss Lynn Jones, she's been covering the Jaguars for over 20 years. She went on ahead and she congratulated Liam Cohen on a good first season, right? Now from where I was as I was listening to that. Now I was saying that it's good that a reporter can see the difference between one season with a football team and another season, but no disrespect, but if I was a head coach, I would not want to hear that immediately after a game, because it's not just, if I'm a head coach, it's not just about getting to the playoffs and losing in the first round. No, it's about winning. It's about winning a championship. It's about building a championship culture. Now, the Jaguars have built that championship culture. But over the last 2 coaching regimes, they get to the playoffs, they win a wild card game, or in this case, lose a wild card game, and then the season after, it seems like the Jaguars are back down in the dumps. Now, I hope the Jaguars don't go on that slide again coming into next season. Now, off-season training starts in a little bit over 3 months. Exactly 3. Well, excuse me. No, the draft starts in April, and then after that, off-season training starts. So the Jaguars, they have their work cut out for them. I don't see the Jaguars taking a step back in 2026 from the looks of what I'm seeing right now. Now, Maybe that changes in a few months when we get to late July, early August, and early September. And especially after the first 4 games of September, we can obviously do an assessment on the Jaguars, on the Jaguars team. But as of right now, Jaguars, do not make the team better. Make some improvements this off season. That's all that a Jaguars fan can ask. That's all. The next game I am going to cover is the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, 49ers won 23-19, but obviously we all know that the Eagles offense looked very putrid throughout the entirety of this season. It looked putrid, anemic. It looked stagnant. Whatever adjective you want to use, you can use it, because everybody usually says that. Everybody usually plays the blame game when it comes to the Eagles. Now, I don't want nobody to say that this game is on Jalen Hurts, because it's not. And I'm tired of the Jalen Hurts slander. I really am. Jalen Hurts, he does his best to go out there and play for the Eagles. He does his best. And before I get into all of the stuff about, A.J. Brown and stuff, A.J. Brown is a good wide receiver. He is a good wide receiver. Every great wide receiver has had drops here and there. So I don't want to hear that A.J. Brown is messing up the team, messing up this, messing up that. You won a Super Bowl with A.J. Brown, Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni, is he just a hype man at this point? Because he doesn't have no offensive scheme. Kevin Patullo don't have no offensive scheme. I believe Kevin Patullo only has 7 plays in that playbook. The first 3 plays of that playbook is usually run Saquon Barkley up the middle. The 4th play is let's throw a screen pass, and he didn't even throw a screen pass to Devontae Smith, but throw a screen pass to Devontae Smith. Let's get Dallas Goedert in the fold. Let's get Will Shipley in the fold. That's 6. And then you have one last play where it's throw the ball deep to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. Those are 7 to 8 plays right there. He only has 8 plays. Now, do I think that Kevin Patullo is going to be fired? Yes, because it doesn't make any sense for the Philadelphia Eagles to have so much offensive firepower, and a season after winning the Super Bowl, all of a sudden the Eagles offense is in straight turmoil. Now, I am going to get to Brock Purdy, 18 of 31, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jalen Hurts, 20 of 35, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Philadelphia, now, hey, all you Philadelphia Eagles fans out there, you can't win them all, but you can at least have a good offensive showing. Now, the Eagles missed the extra point. Instead of going down to win the game, they could have went down and tied the game and won the game in overtime. But as you can see, 3rd down efficiency for the Eagles was 5 of 16. 3rd down efficiency for the 49ers, 6 of 11. And here is the last possession for the Eagles offense. This is 1st and 10 right here. 1st and 10 with under 3 minutes left. Jalen Hurts goes back to pass. He throws it to Saquon Barkley. Now, here it is. 3rd and 5. Jalen Hurts throws to A.J. Brown. Now, A.J. Brown right here, it was critical for him to make that catch. 4th and 5. Hurts goes back to pass, throws it to throws it to Tyler Gobert. Jalen Hurts, first and 10, goes back to pass, throws it to Devontae Smith. This was like the only time I obviously in this game saw Jalen Hurts throw it to multiple receivers. There's Devontae Smith again. Now here is the play. First and 10. Hurts goes back and he doesn't get sacked, but he loses yardage from the run. Now this is the play right here. 4th and 11. 3rd and 11. The Eagles, they should have got 8 or 9 yards on 3rd down to make it a more manageable 4th down. Now see, 4th and 11, you got to throw the ball beyond the 1st down marker in order for it to be in order for your season to stay afloat and in order for you to win the game. But obviously right here, Jalen Hurts back to pass, throws into triple coverage. And I'm going to tell you all something. Everybody was covered. Everybody. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Will Shipley, the running back. Everybody was covered. Everybody. And as you can see, right here, everybody is covered. So I know that when it comes to this play right here, this is the last play of your season, you're doing any and everything to keep this play alive because this is your season right here. Now, obviously, the Eagles did not make this play, and Kevin Patullo, he is going to be fired no matter what. I believe that he is going to be fired. Now, the next game I am going to cover is the LA Chargers and the New England Patriots. Here is the statistics for both teams. Justin Herbert, 19 of 31, 159 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But Justin Herbert was in so much duress. He was. And as you can see, team statistics is, when you look, 1 of 10 on 3rd down for the Chargers. So obviously the Chargers were going to lose this game. Time of possession, 32 minutes for the Patriots, 27 minutes for the LA Chargers. I just want y'all to look at this. The game was still very much winnable late in the 3rd quarter for the Chargers, but offensive line was not able to hold up. As you can see, Justin Herbert sacked. Well, he wasn't sacked, but he got rid of the ball on this play. Look at this again. Obviously, when it comes to 2nd and 7, this play again, Justin Herbert, 3 seconds, he is under duress, but he gets the 1st down and he gets out of the pocket. 3rd and 7 right here, Justin Herbert under duress gets rid of the ball, even though that it was a flag on the play. This was on the offense. But the Chargers, they have got to get a better offensive line. They do. They got to get a better offensive line, and here is where the Chargers, 1st and 15, is basically Justin Herbert just putting the entire team on his back. And y'all look at this. Look at this. This is the only offense that the Chargers had. It was basically Justin Herbert running for his life out there because his offensive line could not hold up. As you can see right there, he gets sacked. And the fumble. He gets sacked, the ball is fumbled, and that's basically it. Justin Herbert, he got hit quite a few times in this game. So the Chargers, they need to draft better offensive linemen because they could not hold up in this game. They couldn't. They could not hold up in this game, and the Chargers are are out of the playoffs. Now, we get to we get to Jim Harbaugh, his stint with the 49ers. His second season, he made it to the he made it to the NFC Championship game and lost. Well, excuse me. First season, he made it to the NFC Championship game and lost. Second season, when Jim Harbaugh was with the 49ers, he made it to the Super Bowl and lost. But now, fast forward 12, 13 years later with the Chargers. First season, you get to the playoffs, losing the wild card round to the Texans. Then this season, you get to the playoffs, losing the wild card round to the Patriots. And Justin Herbert, he hasn't had a playoff win in his career yet. So, going into year 3, I hate to say that it's a make or break year for Justin Herbert, because Justin Herbert, he's starting to remind me of the last Chargers quarterback that they had, Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers can get you into the playoffs, but as far as winning in the playoffs, he's just up and down. He was up and down. Phillip Rivers was up and down, and Justin Herbert's been up and down. Now, Chargers, 27-point lead versus the Jaguars 3 years ago. Lost that. Last year, 6 turnovers versus the Texans. Chargers lose that. This year, you get sacked 7 times versus a Patriots defense. You lose that. I don't know what the Chargers are going to do, but in the draft, they need to draft better offensive linemen. They do need to draft better offensive linemen. The last game of Wild Card Weekend was last night. America, the Steelers had dejection. That's what the Steelers looked like last night. They didn't play with no fight. They didn't play with any fight. Aaron Rodgers, 17 of 33, 146 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. When this game was 7-6, I said that the Steelers, if they don't score at least 22 to 25 points in this game and have a good defensive showing, they are going to lose. And that's exactly what they did. You had C.J. Stroud, 21 of 32, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Aaron Rodgers, 17 of 33, 146 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. The Texans win their first ever road playoff game, and they also get their first ever win in Pittsburgh in franchise history. It's been a lot of firsts for the Texans this year. They went to Kansas City, got their first ever win in Kansas City. They also went to Pittsburgh, got their first ever win. Now, the Texans are going to face the Broncos. Well, excuse me, not the Broncos, but the Texans are going to face the New England Patriots. 2 dominant defenses, the Patriots and the Texans. I think that will be a low-scoring game. I do. And as you can see, when it comes to Pittsburgh, I don't know what to say, but I don't see Mike Tomlin leaving the Steelers, because that contract that he has, 17, 18 million a year, Steelers, one thing that they have to do is when it comes to a quarterback, they have Will Howard. They drafted Will Howard. It's best for them to get Will Howard together and get him prepared to take over the team after Aaron Rodgers leaves the Steelers, whether it's this offseason or after next season. But this game pretty much was one-sided. Late in the third quarter, the Steelers, they had a chance to take the lead in this game. They didn't. But here is where the game started to be one-sided, and it was really on this play right here. See, this was a momentum changer, and I hate to say it, but this is where I saw the Steelers losing grip on this game. Because you get to it. Here it is. The Texans, they kick a field goal. 10-6. And then all of a sudden, you know, it seems like the Steelers, they had a little offense, but they were one of 12 on third down last night. They were 1 of 12 on third down last night, and everything was just off. The average yardage for a third down for the Steelers last night, third down, they were in third down and long a lot. To be exact, they were in third and 8+ a lot. 8+ yards, a lot last night. And as you can see, the game pretty much got one-sided. Here is basically where the Texans took over this game. It's 24-6. Rodgers throws an interception, and basically the defensive cornerback runs it all the way back for a touchdown, and that was pretty much game over. So we get to the new and updated playoff bracket for the NFL. New and updated playoff bracket for the NFL is Bills and Broncos, 4:30. Texans Patriots, 3 o'clock on Sunday. And for the NFC, Seahawks 49ers, 8 o'clock on Saturday. And we have Rams versus Bears on Sunday at 6:30. Now, to all the teams that have that lost on Wild Card Weekend, most of these teams, some of them aren't far off. The Chargers, they aren't far off. Only thing the Chargers need to do is get a better offensive line. The Panthers, we don't really know. We don't really know what we are going to get from the Panthers on a year-in to year-out basis. The Packers, I hear that Matt LaFleur's job is under scrutiny right now, and really, I really don't see why it is, because it really doesn't make any sense, because he's had winning seasons every season. His first 3 years, he averaged 12 wins each year. Then the last 3 years, it's been 11-6, 10-7, 9. 10-7, 9-7-1, and also 10-7. So Matt LaFleur, he's had a winning record. I don't know why the Packers would fire him, but the Packers, they aren't really far off. The Eagles, you're 1 year removed from the Super Bowl, so obviously the Eagles are not that far off anyway. And with that, those are my reactions to Super Wild Card Weekend in the NFL. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the Key on millions.co. Here is my media feed, so you can see all of my sound bites, clips, and segments that I do. We also have merchandise on millions.co. Here is a little bit of the merchandise right here. I have t-shirts, I have sweaters, and I have hoodies. And all of that, look at the prices right here, right now. These are the prices, and you can currently go on millions.co under the key, under my profile, and you can get it. Now remember, one last thing, everybody. The key is always on time.